There it is. Hi, Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Three Buttsketeers, sponsored by Capri Suns. We're not. I just made that up, but if we could pull that off, that'd be great.
And eggnog by Pet.
That was.
We're off to a really good start here. This is good.
Oh yeah, we're doing well. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, you fucking assholes?
Oh yeah, we're doing well. So we talked about having a theme every week. For this week, it's sports stories, more specifically sports stories where we kind of screw up. But we'll start off just talking about what's going on. Does anybody want to go first? My life's been pretty boring.
Same. Yeah, I don't know. Just going to school, going to work, trying to keep myself from throwing myself in front of a train every day. Life's pretty good.
Has your relationship with the conductor improved at all? Have you made an
No,
effort?
this guy is such a fucking asshole, and I'm really thinking of, like, I don't know. I've seen some stuff that's really upset me in the past couple weeks, and not to mention he's one of these dudes. All right, it's a white guy who's got his head shaved around here, and then this is all ponytail pulled back in the back like that. So like things are very bad. That's all. Yeah.
I thought last time we determined that he wasn't actually a bad dude. You just had like an issue with him, but now he's a horrible person, and you're ready to kill him.
Yeah. Things have changed. Same guy. I'm not liking him at all. But he's not there. Like, I ride the train back and forth Monday through Friday, and he's not there every day. So the days that he's not, me and the other dude get along so well. And by that I mean, like, he takes my ticket and I give him a little nod, and the other guy, we don't. He just looks at me funny. It makes me really upset. All right, but anyway, what's going on with you guys?
I got nothing, man. I'm hoping to be fired, get unemployment, and try to find another job. But yeah, we'll see. Everything's been going pretty good though. Can't complain. This last week was okay. So my job, like, our branch is in Columbia, South Carolina, but it's based out of New York. It's like a big digital. Well, my part is a digital ad agency, but like they do traditional and some other stuff. And so it's like 250 employees, and our branch has like 20 something. And my last coordinator, I'm an account manager. My last coordinator, her name was Brianna. She was like one of the best women's basketball players that University of South Carolina has like ever had. But she was so good. She's also black. They fired her. Well, she quit because she didn't like my boss, who I also don't like. And I tried to get out from underneath her, and they were like, no. And then they were like, hey, instead, we're going to just withhold your raises until like, this shit gets fixed. I was like, that's an idiotic idea. But so she quit. Brianna quit. And then they hired, they interviewed, and I was there to interview these people, like 4 white people. And then like none of those people got the job, and then we got this, and then the one that they hire is another black girl, and I almost want to like ask them, like, did y'all like specifically do this? Like, cause I want to know, like, if it really was like, hey, we lost our one black girl, we gotta make this up. This is not looking good for us down here in South Carolina to have our one black person leave and then us not hire another black person.
Yeah.
It's a little sketchy, but like also too, she has a master's degree, but she doesn't know how to like use Excel. I don't quite understand it. Like, it just, there's a disconnect. I'm like,
Does she have a
she's smart, you know. She's got her master's, you know. She's a quick learner or something. I'm just like, okay. And then I was like, going to show her something. She like doesn't know. Like, when I say it, like, she knows nothing about Excel. It's actually frightening. But yeah, so I don't like her as much as my last one. My last coordinator, Brianna, was awesome, and she like I could give her work and like she would get it done. I didn't have to like check on her. And this girl, like, I have to keep checking on because she doesn't know what she's doing, and it makes my life harder. And then I hate myself more.
That sounds like a really healthy work environment.
Yeah, it's awful. So since I have two stories, I'll start out. I'll just since I'm talking and I got a little nog in me.
There you go. Knock it up, brother. Oh my.
Oh, that's vintage. That's vintage nog. So I'll start off. I got okay. So when I was 7 years old, I was playing in the 8, 9-year-old flag football league. I was always like, my parents had to put me in daycare early because they both worked, and so like I was in a daycare younger than what they had a room for, so I was actually like in a swing in a closet in my admin office. Okay, not like closed, like the closet door wasn't closed, but I was like in there, and so I'm always like, I'm really young for the grade that I'm in. I probably should have like got held back to like be with people my age or whatever. So anyways, I was playing flag football, and I had this this habit. I don't know why I got it, but whenever I would get hurt, if I was playing basketball or whatever, if someone like hit me, I got hurt, I would lay completely still on the ground and not move or say anything.
Like you got paralyzed?
Yes, exactly. I would lay motionless. Okay? So this happened. I got the ball, and I was on this kid. It was actually, he ended up being quarterback at Vanderbilt, Stephen Bright. And like I got a handoff from this guy or whatever, and I was running, and then I was going like out of bounds, and the kid like knocked me down by accident. You know, like going for my flag road, and I fell down, and so I'm just laying there, motionless. And so my mom knows that I do that, but nobody else knows. So like all these parents are like, "Oh my God, this kid is hurt. He's hurt. He's hurt." I just sit there. And then I just slowly get up. All eyes are on me because there was, oh my God, this kid's hurt. It's like a solid 10 seconds, and I get up and I start walking off, and I turn around in front of all the people. I go, asshole. I don't even know where I learned that word because like my parents didn't cuss at all, and so so I cussed out this kid in front of all these parents, and then we had to go to the end of year award ceremony. Like with the team or whatever after that, and my parents just didn't even take me. They were so embarrassed. They're like, "We'll buy you a trophy at a later date." I'm not gonna go.
I would not want to go to that, dude. That's gotta be really awkward as a parent to have to be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. My kid did or said something that he shouldn't have done. I'm a decent person. I promise he is too. You know what? We'll all laugh about this someday."
Yeah. And it's like, because in the media, it's like, well, you didn't learn that from us or something like that. It's like, but everybody's looking at it, like, what are you teaching this kid? That kid was an asshole, though. Yeah, I like football for a reason. Don't bump me, buddy.
In college, since I wasn't like playing any competitive sports, obviously intramurals was the only thing I had going for me in my entire life. So I was ready to fight every game, and I got thrown out of like 3 or 4, like just for yelling, because I just had like a bad attitude, and I would get into it. And then I got thrown out of the championship game senior year, and like flag football was the only thing I played, because the soccer season or the intramural soccer season had already ended, so flag football was the only thing I played. And like the head of like the athletic director's emailing me like, we're gonna have to ban you from intramural sports if you don't come down and have a talk with us, and I was just like. I'm like sending like shitty emails back, like, you know what? You suck. F you. I'm not coming. I don't want to play sports anymore. I hate this school. Like, I was a really mature 21-year-old at the time. It was good. It went well.
Jesus, dude. I thought intramural sports were supposed to be like really chill. Like whenever I played them, it was kind of like, well, win or lose, you know, no one really cares. Yeah. Not you.
It was so Rose, the school I went to, it's entirely engineering, and so it's like 90%, 80% super nerdy dudes, 10% pretty nerdy girls, and then like 10% dudes that are into math but like relatively normal. Like I'd count myself relatively normal in that last group, even though I'm probably not even technically normal. But there's a lot of guys that like would play sports in high school and then like couldn't get past the fact that they weren't playing sports anymore. And I will say I was in that because like you get used to having that like outlet every day, like going out and like releasing energy of some sort. But instead now you're just like pinned up in a room like, writing equations. And as soon as they let you out on any sort of playing field and around other human beings, you're just like ready to punch things, and that's all you want to do. It's like you want to fight. Like
just jerking off on TIA. Yeah, ours was pretty chill too. It wasn't like overly competitive, and it wasn't just like whatever. But so in flag football, I did get like I didn't get kicked out of the game, but I did get like excessive celebration penalties. There was one time we were playing this frat, and they were like they were like the kings of flag football or whatever. Like they like had plays and stuff, and so like I was a quarterback, and I can't throw a ball very well. Like I can't throw a football very well. Like I'm serviceable, but the thing is that with people rushing, you can't really block. Like they just needed somebody that can move around, and run, or throw it a couple yards if needed be. And so these guys kept fucking rushing me, and like I was getting sick of it. So I did this move. Let's see if I've got a football.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah.
So
Justin's got to do one sports move every podcast to just the tradition.
So I take it, and I didn't tell anybody. We were like about 5 yards out. And I didn't even tell my own team I was going to do this. I'm like, fuck these guys, because they kept running it. So I get it, and I come back, and the guy's rushing me here, and I've got like a receiver over there. So I take it and go like this, and then drop it behind my back and catch it. So like I go like this. The guy who's rushing comes up, and he's like jumps in the air, like turns around and run off, and I just grabbed it from behind here. I was 5 yards out, and then when I dove in, I went like this, like like no one's touching me, and I just done like this, and I just got up, and I just started just fucking. And then they threw a flag or whatever. I mean, we got the touchdown, but then we had to take a 2-yard 2-point conversion, 15 yards back or some shit. Later that game, I intercepted something. I ran it back. I cut a front flip and landed it in the in the end zone, and we got another penalty there. I just remember I was like, dude looks so stupid, and it was like the most brilliant play of my life. It just started, like I was just fucking the air. Sorry, I'm getting a little riled up.
That shit gets you riled up, dude. Yeah, I played a little bit of intramural soccer, and I played with my fraternity, and like everybody sucked, and like the people who didn't suck were like either high or drunk when we went to the games, so it was a disaster. But speaking of getting kicked out of the games, all right, so grew up playing soccer, a lot like you, Jacob. Pretty successful, liked it a lot, but no work ethic. Personally, still have zero. And so we get there to high school, freshman year, and I'm like super nervous because these dudes who are seniors, they had a really good team. They all look like they're 25, like movie seniors from high school, like they're actually like 30-year-olds playing 17-year-olds. These dudes were so good, and they were cool, and I was just like prepubescent, fucking awkward, weird. But anyway, I ended up being the only freshman on varsity, so I was like really, really psyched about that. And then instead of it being a great thing, all my friends ended up fucking hating me because they were all on JV and I was on varsity, and so it wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. And not to mention that the captain of the varsity team just kind of before the game, he would like to do this thing where everyone kind of got in a huddle, and he just kind of like started to like convulse and would just like fucking go crazy physically. And one time he punched me in the neck, and I had to sit out for the first half because I couldn't like stand up straight. Like everything really hurt. Anyway, so we had a really good season my freshman year. We come back sophomore year, and there's preseason before. Oh shit! I just had the camera on Justin when I was telling that story again.
No, it's fine.
And so we come back sophomore year, and after the first week of preseason, I skipped 2 days. I told the coach, I was like, I'm not going to be there. My family's going to the shore, and like, I'm going to go to the beach too, dude. I'm a kid. I'm going to go on vacation. And he was like, don't do it. I was like, well, no, I'm going to do that. I went, and then I came back on a Wednesday. I went to the beach, Saturday through Tuesday, came back on Wednesday, show up there at like 8 in the morning for practice in late August, and he's like, yeah, you're off the team. You're not going to play anymore. And I just went nuts. Like, I was like, all right, dude, like, fuck you guys, like you can go fuck yourself. He was a teacher too, so like I ended up seeing him every day, which was really awkward. He tried to apologize to me a bunch of times, and I wasn't for it. So I came back junior year after not playing, and I was not as good. But senior year, I hit like a little growth spurt, and I was like bigger and stronger than I was before, and it really worked out to my advantage in terms of like just destroying kids. Like, because I played sweeper, so I'm the last defenseman. So like, if everything else fucks up, and if someone gets through with the ball, like I either have to stop the man or I have to stop the ball, one or the other. And I wasn't a skill player, so
There's always the
yeah, it was a lot of time. It was just me plowing through a kid and hoping to kind of play it off and not get a card. But anyway, I ended up getting 4 yellow cards and a red card in my senior season out of like, I don't know, 15 games, which was one away from being suspended, I guess, for like an extended period of time. But I wasn't too worried about it. But anyway, the last one came, the red card came on this really, I still get like really uncomfortable when I think about it because all the fans ended up turning against me because it was an away game. So we went to this other school. We're playing on their field. It's near the end of the season, so we were both pretty competitive teams in the league, so we're both trying to better our record. So there's like a big fan base there for the other team, lots of parents, lots of girlfriends and friends, and we're the away team, so there are no fans for us. It's just us, and it's already kind of intimidating. So we're not that far into the game, and it was a set play. The ball comes in and then pops back out, and everyone kind of lost track of things. And I realized that there was a guy who was unguarded, and the ball's rolling toward him, and this dude is just going to get like a point-blank shot at our goalie. And I was like, okay, all right. My instincts kicked in, and I was like, you have to kill this man. Like this boy needs to die today. There is going to be a mother without a son at the end of this game. We're not going to get scored against. So I went in figuring that I would be able to step in front of his shot and then also plow through him, but I got there a little later. I was so blinded with rage, I kind of just like sprinted right for him. So he kicks the ball, it bends just around me, and then I can't stop in time, but he had just kicked it, so he was kind of like this, and I came in from the side and just like like if you were on, like if you were a lineman in football, like I just kind of came up from underneath and just lifted him in the air, and I felt his insides just like crushing when I was coming into him. And he hit the ground, and it was one of those ones where before he hits the ground, he's going, oh, like he screamed in the air on the way down. It was like a balloon that I deflated, but it was his rib cage and his organs just all getting crushed. And so this kid hits the ground, and like everything just goes silent, and then the fans start booing and the parents start booing, and I'm like, all right, I really hope that this kid's parents aren't here because it's going to be really bad. So people get upset. Like there's kids on the other team that are like threatening to fight me, and I was like, hey, dude, look, like I'm already, I already got college planned out. We can fight right here, right now. I'm really not that worried about it. And so I get a yellow card. And I'm trying to keep a straight face. Like, I wasn't laughing, but I was not all that upset about it because it felt good. And then I'm walking off the field. I'm already kicked off. People are booing. Everyone's really upset. My coach has this disgusted look on his face, like he just caught his son, like, doing drugs in the garage. Like, he's just like, ah, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm so humiliated by you. I can't believe this. And my buddy walks up to me and whispers in my ear, because the kid's laying on the ground screaming. My buddy comes up and whispers in my ear, what a fucking bitch, right? And I just, I lost it. Like, I lost it. I couldn't stop laughing. And so now I'm walking off the field past all the fans, laughing really hard while this kid lays on the ground with what turned out to be like a few broken ribs. And I saw him again later when we played them in the playoffs, and he was not playing, and he was not standing up a lot. He was sitting most of the time. And just scowling at me the whole game, but yeah, so that was bad. I've got another one, but I rambled for a while, so I'll let you guys tell.
Going off that, we got lacrosse my senior year, and so I played basketball all my life, and then we ended up being we runners up at state, and then I just had the spring semester or whatever to just like not do anything. I said, oh, I'll pick up lacrosse. And so really what it was, it ended up being like a bunch of like freshman kids, like freshman kind of athletic nerdy kids, and then like just like senior football and basketball players that were just like, well, fuck it, like we just need something to do. And we had this very large middle linebacker who's now a county sheriff. He's the kind of guy who like he's just lifted weights all of his life, and he like when he turns, he can't turn his neck independent of his shoulders. Great football player, like he was dangerous. But so he was playing. We had him on defense, and we had like our first scrimmage out somewhere, and this kid like tried to get fancy or whatever the case is, and he like made a move and came down the middle to take a shot, and this guy comes through, and his football instincts took in. Like in lacrosse, like you can't just cross check somebody. You can have your hands here and hit him, and that's not what he did. We'd only practiced for like 2 weeks before this thing came, before we had a game, and he comes through and decleats this kid. And you hear that, and like whereas your kid heard him go like or whatever, this kid just goes like it's like his intestines just like got blocked his esophagus, and like no air could come through, and this kid got taken down. He lands on his shoulder, so he gets knocked up like enough where he rotates back and like lands on his shoulder and like separates his shoulder. It's like deathly quiet. They had to bring the paramedics out. The kid had like a separated shoulder, and it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen, like in person, because I was just like, this little kid, like in lacrosse or whatever, it's like he was trying to be cuter and whatever, he comes to, and this guy just just takes him off his feet, and I would always remember that sound. It's just this guttural, like the lizard brain kicked in and was like, we've got to shut this entire body to protect itself before we land on the ground.
Dude, yeah, lacrosse seems terrifying because there's a lot more leeway in terms of fouling, and like it's just scary because like at least in football you're hitting, but the plays restart really often. But lacrosse is like just this open field, like you could be hit from any direction at any time. It seems scary as shit.
And it seems pretty acceptable to just beat each other with sticks.
Yeah, there's that too.
I loved it, man. I always said I was too pretty to play football. But then basketball, it's like a contact sport. But then, like, the first time I got out there and, like, someone rocked me and, like, knocked me down, I was like, I fucking love this.
So I was really, really, really bad at football. We had a middle school league, and I tried to play once in 6th grade. And, like, my entire football experience was playing, like, in the Thanksgiving touch football game, which I dominated. And then I didn't realize until I got around like playing football around people my age that was because my grandpa was playing and he's like 60, and everyone else were just like my little siblings who were like 7. So that combined wasn't really a good judge of my talent. So like I'm running all over, like making all these great catches, and I just realized it's because I'm a foot taller than anyone with any kind of speed on the field, and my grandpa he's had like 7 knee surgeries, so probably his ability to cover me doesn't really say much. And
Jim, so, Grandpa. I would definitely shit.
For a grown-up, you really suck at football, huh, Grandpa?
You're embarrassing yourself.
I don't know why you even come to family Thanksgiving anymore. Other than that, you paid for the turkey.
We appreciate that.
So our league, and I'm sure this is a common thing, but you had to be under a certain weight to be allowed to touch the football with your hands and run with it. Well, I wasn't under that weight, so I had to play on the line, and I was not a very strong 140-pound 6th grader. I was a very flabby 140-pound 6th grader. So I was an offensive tackle, and usually you have a left tackle and a right tackle. We didn't have a left tackle and a right tackle. We had a tackle for the side of the field we were running the ball to, and a tackle for the other side of the field, and that was me. So my job was basically to delay someone long enough that they couldn't run 5 yards faster than our running back could run 1. So my job wasn't super hard. I never really screwed that part up. but I also was the kicker. And like the one thing the coach taught me, because he didn't know anything about kicking, he was just a middle school football coach. He was like, yeah, just kick it far, and if anybody comes towards you, just kind of try and get in their way. And
just try and kick it at their fucking face. Just try and kick it right in his neck.
So our first game, I'm super nervous, and first kickoff of the game, of course, we sucked. This kid breaks through everyone. I'm hanging back, and like I'm tracking this kid over towards the sideline, running towards him, ready to shove him out of bounds, and like I thought I did. It looked to everyone there like I did. My coach starts going crazy, and he's like cheering for me, trying to make me feel good. Like, that's exactly what we talked about doing. And so we get to film on Monday because it's 6th grade, so obviously you need film sessions because this is a big deal. Like, we just had him at his house, too. He just had this entire football team. We're in his living room just watching his little TV, and he's trying to teach us things. I didn't really care.
I hope nobody from your school district watches that, because that definitely breaks some laws there. Yeah.
So first play of the game, I'm excited. Like, I've been waiting. Everyone was talking about my big play at school all day. Like, this is my moment. This is my moment as a football player. I'm ready to watch it. What you end up seeing on film is that I'm running over there, and then I just kind of trip and fall. And I lay down in front of this kid, and it's just at the right distance to where he just kind of has to step out of bounds. Otherwise, he's going to step on me and, like, hurt himself. Because he's already heading towards, the sideline trying to beat me there, and me tripping and falling. He had two choices, which were to, like, maybe sprain his ankle by stepping on me or just step out of bounds. So, like, I'm all psyched up watching this unfold, and it takes, like, probably 10 seconds to unfold. And then, like, I just put my head down. I didn't watch anything else the rest of the day. I was just like, oh, God.
That's be such a terrible feeling to think that you're going to get to see a highlight of yourself doing something really good, and it just turns out that you fucked up.
Okay, no, I still suck. That's good to know. I was afraid for a second I might have had a skill. That would have been bad.
I thought I might have, for once, had a good day there, but nope, check another one out for a bad day.
I thought of another story since we were talking about soccer and getting football tackled. Soccer I was actually decent at, and I guess it would have been sophomore year. We were playing in a tournament up in Indianapolis, and you ever have like one of those weekends where you're just on, like sports-wise, like there's just no one that can stop you? I was having one of those games, and like I was playing as a right wing, and their left back was just garbage. And within the first 5 minutes of the game, I had torched him, scored a goal. I beat him 2 more times and set up assists I had an assist after that on both of those. And then I figured out where his mom was in the stands. So like, I started like just jokingly flirting with her whenever he was around, and like telling her how bad her son was, and she obviously didn't appreciate it. But then like,
that is fucked up.
Yeah, no, I was a terrible little child. With about 5 minutes to go in the game, I beat him one more time and scored. And so as I'm jogging back, I just kind of hit his mom with a finger gun, and so there's like 3 minutes left in the game at this point. They got the ball down to our end. It went out for a goal kick, and so our keeper just launches one up the field, and it's coming right at me. I'm jumping up to win it, and just out of nowhere, I just feel this kid spear me in the back. I was like, yeah, as I'm falling down, I'm like, yeah, I deserve this. I absolutely understand where he's coming from on this, and I do feel bad now. Yeah, I can see why this is happening.
Yeah, you sound like you'd be a fucking pain in the ass to play again.
It probably wasn't even the fact that you did it to his mom. It was like, just everybody on the field was collectively like, yo, did that guy really just do the finger guns? Like, like, you just got to take this.
Somebody knocked him out.
Yeah.
Like my own teammates, my coach, are all just like, hey, if someone can just go out there and just punch Jacob in the side of the head, we don't care. That's fine.
Coach was like, yeah, you know what, if anybody wants to just go out there and really hurt this kid, I'll be turning around writing in my notebook during the last minute of the game, so go for it.
It was bad. As soon as the game was over, I was just, it was, oh man, you acted like a jackass right there, Jacob.
All right, I got to let you guys in on this story, and I think I talked about it on Twitter before. I've had in my pelvic region, I've had
Oh,
issues,
this is getting good.
multiple issues. I've had in the past year and a half, I got two hernias. One of which I got surgically repaired, and then the other I didn't because I don't want to because the first time was really terrible. So now I have to be careful with what I do. But it turns out that a lot of I've always been, I don't know, susceptible in that area. I've always put my crotch in the line of fire. Um,
Kelsey just walked in the room. And just,
Kelsey tweeted back at me the other day. She never tweets at me, and she responded to something heinous I said the other day, and I was like, really, this is what you finally respond to? Like, you
you
always...
just found out about what Mike Vick did to those dogs.
Oh yeah, I said I can't believe what Mike Vick did to those poor dogs.
Anyways, I'm sorry. More about your pelvis.
All right, so the first thing to ever happen, and I guess our medic, like our sports trainer at my high school, called this a sports hernia, but it was not like the other hernias, which you'll find out. So the other ones, like basically, it's a little tear in your pelvic wall, and then like some of your intestines make their way out, and it makes a bump, and it's painful and uncomfortable, and talking about it makes me want to vomit. But so anyway, high school. This happened, I think this was in my junior season, yeah, because it was just a depressing time overall. So anyway, it's a really rainy game. So it's rainy and it's stormy. It got pretty fierce. I can't believe I just said fierce. But anyway, so this kid and I are going for a ball. It's a 50-50 ball. Ball's here. Me and him are going at it. It's rainy, and I'm like, oh hell yeah! I'm gonna make the perfect slide tackle right here. Like I'm just gonna slide in, lift this ball up, pass it to my homie, like, it'll be great. No one's watching the game right now. Like, there's not a chance I'll get embarrassed. There's no fans here, nothing. So I slide in, and, like, he slides in too, and we kind of get, like, our legs kind of come together, and, like, his legs are kind of pushing my legs, and there's a lot of tearing, it's bad. So anyway, I feel like a really uncomfortable movement, not necessarily a pain, but kind of like I know something traumatic has happened to my genitals, and I I know. Yeah, so I let out like a deep scream, not a scream, kind of just like a because it hurt. But then I reach down in my pants underneath my compression shorts, and I feel that one of my nuts, my left nut, is not there. It's not in the nut sack. I have one nut and the other one, and I search around and I'm feeling, and like there's something, I don't know what's happening in my brain at that point, but it just feels like there's an alarm, and it's just getting, like, reaching like the most blaring levels, and like I can't tell if I'm about to black out or faint. And I feel that my nut is like up in me. Like it was super, super uncomfortable. And then so the second I realized that the nut was not where it was supposed to be, and this has never happened before, I just let out like a blood-curdling scream. And I didn't get hurt a lot. Like, I wasn't one to like take fouls and whine and cry and have the medic come out. And so people come over and they're like, "You all right? You all right?" And I wasn't saying anything. Like, I was just kind of curled up in a ball, like screaming into the dirt, like with my face down in the mud, just like screaming. So the medic comes out, and she's like trying to ask me what happened, like, because everybody saw what happened, but trying to ask me what's wrong, and I don't really want to say it, and I can't really form the words, and like now the other team's around, my coach is around, the other kid's there, and like he got a little banged up, but like he's still got both his nuts in his pants. I've got one nut in my nutsack, and the other one's like up by my waistband. Like this is an emergency. So I don't know how to tell her. So like I get off the field. I'm freaking out. Like I want to puke. All I want to do is just shoot myself in the face. So we go into her office. She takes me in there, and I'm telling her what's happening, and she's like, "Oh, it's not that unusual." And I was like, I don't know a single other person this has happened to. There's kids that play sports here every day, and everyone's still got both their nuts." So she ended up helping me push it down and out. Like we found it there, and we just kind of like pushed it. Like if you put a marble underneath a tablecloth and you had to push it to one side, like. So we get it out, and it's down there, but it keeps wanting to like come back up. I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm talking about my nuts this much on the internet. I'm sorry to everyone who's listening to this. But it keeps wanting to come back up, so we have to kind of like form like a lasso with athletic tape to keep it down to my thigh. So we kind of just yeah. We just like lasso
your nutsack to your thigh, like or to pull it.
Yeah. Well, we made.
Oh my God! So this is like when you have, like a pair of sweatpants with like an elastic waistband, and one of the laces gets pulled back in, and you like a pencil or something, like just keep like feeding it through. So you gotta push it through. Oh my God! Okay, sorry. Continue.
It was disgusting. I mean, that's all there is to it. Like we basically fashioned this lasso, and she knew what she was doing. Like obviously she had thought this. She had been over this subject before. So we fashioned this lasso. We kind of just like cinched the nutsack down, tie it to the thigh, and I had to leave it like that. And I had to keep like kind of making one myself for the next few days and not playing. And then it's like, oh, like everyone's like, Tom, like I heard you got hurt in the game yesterday. What happened? And I'm like, I temporarily lost a testicle in my stomach, and now it's back out. And everyone's like, "Oh, I figured it would be like your knee or your ankle." No, it's a lot worse than that. So if you could not tell people, that'd be great. And after that, the nut was always prone to go up. So there were a bunch of other times I had to like get down in there and be like, "Nope, not today. Get back down. Get down."
How long were you on the field, like, just, like, playing with yourself, trying to find it? Because I'm trying to, like, visualize this in my head, like the kid that just got tackled and then he's just, like, laying on the ground with his hand in his pants, like, just kind of feeling around.
Like 3 to 5 minutes. I got it over with pretty quick, but everybody knew something was really wrong with something in my nutsack area.
Just like when you're gonna make an ill grilled cheese and you put like a pat of butter down and you just gotta keep like butter to spread it. Dude, that happened to I think I would have been in 9th grade, freshman year, and we were about to go to summer basketball camp for our team at Clemson University. They had like you can go down, like high school teams can go and you can play other high school teams or whatever. And we were like shooting around. Because it's only like 50 minutes from where we are in the morning, and then like all of a sudden this kid just goes down, and he's like holding his stomach, dick area.
Oh.
Like, oh, something. And we're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, what's wrong with him or something? We're like, oh, I think he got hit in the nuts and so he ended up not getting on the bus with us. He went to the doctor. So it turns out this dude had to get a nut sling. He had to get a thing that would reduce the drag or the hang of the nut to help him, because what had happened apparently, so anybody that's listening to it, I'll describe it, but if you're watching the video you can see it. So a testicle hangs down from like 3 like blood vessel things. So what had happened to this guy is that he had done something, and this is why you always wear compression shorts, you never wear boxers. His like nut had popped out of the front of his boxer flap, and then like he had made a movement and it had gotten jostled, so it hangs from like 3 twisted around, so it was basically like cutting off its own circulation to the nut, and so they had to go and like untwist it, and then he had to wear this scrote sling for like a couple of weeks.
I know all about the scrote sling. Yeah, mine was like a scrote lasso, but same kind of thing. I feel for that kid. I'd like to actually get in touch with him. I think we could go to therapy together.
The only time that's ever happened to me, I was in the 8th grade and I was jerking off on my back porch. I was laying on my back. And I was just like going to town or something, and then like I guess I was like I was like real comfy too. Like my parents were like gone for the day at something, and like I don't know why I was jerking off in the backyard, but it was like a really nice sunny day, and we had like the privacy fences or whatever. So it's like, yo, why wouldn't I jerk off in the backyard naked? I'm like it's like real nice, this real comfy, cozy lounge chair, and I guess I was just like a little too reclined, so my body was like kind of lifted up, or whatever, and I was jerking off, and that's like, I guess as my balls were bouncing, like one of them went back up in me, and I was like, and like I could feel like it, you know, I guess the hole like above where the taint is, where that stuff feeds down to, it got up there, and I was like, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck, like how am I gonna explain this? Or call 911, or like what am I like? This is awful. And so I just like kind of breathed and was like, and like just kind of took, you know, a hand finger, like just kind of like, and then lean forward, you know, to like get it back out. But it was the most terrifying. It was one of the most like most clearest moments I've ever had in my life, because all of a sudden I was like, and then it happened. I was like, I don't want to lose this testicle. How am I like? My neighbors are gonna see. My parents are gonna know. Like everything went through, and I was like, you got to focus and get this nut out of your taint hole or whatever that is. But it's the only time. But it definitely went up there and only had one. I was like, oh my god, that was terrible. It's terrifying.
Yeah. When something goes wrong with the nuts, it just like sets off this thing inside you. Like as a man who like your real only purpose is to like reproduce and protect your genitals. It's just like I said, like when it happened to me, like everything went blank. Like my vision just like shut off. Like I went into like survival mode.
Oh my god, I feel for you. That is terrifying. So my story, I played basketball all through.
Holy shit, I forgot about this.
Yeah, I'll segue. So it's like the last episode. It's like, yo, let's just talk about dog dicks for 30 minutes. Now, like, yo, everybody, what's your anatomy, the nut story? And who knows? Maybe we come back to it. Maybe temporarily losing a testicle is this week's dog dicks. And so I played basketball all my life, and then for Spirit Week we had, I don't know, because this was the only time in my 4 years I was there that they did this, but they had a wheelchair basketball game. Okay, and so we played. It's like the varsity team, and then like some of the actual like special ed or people in the wheelchairs, right? And then we also had like some of the other like varsity players, like they were mixed in or whatever, right? So like some actual handicapped kids that were like really fucking good. That's the thing. And then like us, and so like we're having to learn and play. So it was like fun. And this was during this is like right after school. There's a fairly sizable amount of people that stayed to watch, and so so it's almost like when you're at the YMCA or even like pick up soccer or anything, like, and you get like, you know, like you have to guard the girl, and the girl is good, so you're facing this conundrum of like, do I try really hard, and then they're like, why is that guy trying so hard to beat this girl? And then the other part of that is, you know, if you slack off and then they hit a fucking jump shot in your face, and you'll never hear the end of it. So like we started playing, and like, you know, we're kind of feeling out or whatever. These kids are obviously good. And whatever, and then I was like, yo, like, I'm not, like, I was too competitive. I was like, I'm not letting these kids, like, show me up. Like, one kid hit a jumper on me, and I was like, that's it. Like, it's not, well, not a jumper. I guess a roller is a better.
All right, it's not a fucking game anymore, guys.
Better description. But yeah, this kid hit one, like, right in my face, and I was like, that's it. So we're coming back down, and I still have the video. I really, if we edit this, if it comes out to, like, if you try to do this on Monday, I'll see if my mom can find the VHS and I can like try to get it transferred or something. And we still have the video of this, and so I come down and kid shoots it. He gets his own offensive rebound, and I'm like right next to him, and he goes up to shoot, and I blocked the ever living shit out of this ball, so much so that it knocked him out of his wheelchair onto the floor. So now I've got a kid whose legs do not work, laying on the ground with his wheelchair turned over, and the ball bouncing out of bounds, and the entire gym completely silent.
Oh Jesus!
Because I have now successfully injured a wheelchair kid.
Yeah, you took the guarding the girl concept way too far and just fucked up in front of everybody.
So then I have to get out, and then I'm like trying to help this kid up into the air, and like this and that, and then he's like, oh, I'm good. Something would get him in there, and then I just stopped playing. I was just like somebody's gotta just sub me out, and I just left. I was not like I didn't want to. I know like it probably like that dude was just he didn't care. You know, it's like I'm sure that happens sometimes, but yeah, I definitely just blocked the ever living shit out of this kid. It was a great fucking highlights. Like I remember it.
Didn't get scored on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, fuck him, man. Like, yeah, anybody, don't bring that weak shit around me. You know? Like, it's like you better, you know. I'm sorry that your lower torso doesn't work, but that's not going to stop me from teaching you a lesson to not come in my house and try to bring that weak shit.
Oh my god.
So, but yeah, so after that happened, and everyone was like looking at me. I remember too, because there's like some of my friends that were up there, and they were standing up in the stadium. I remember one of my friends was just like standing there with like holding his hair back, just looking at me in silence, just shaking his head like, "No, dude, I just do that." Yeah, I called like after like whatever, I like kind of signaled over to our coach and was like, and he got me out, and then I was like, "Yeah, I got to go to the bathroom," and I just left. I didn't come back. I was not prepared to slap hands with that kid after the game or anything like that. I just wanted to leave and die.
That sounds fucking terrible. I would have considered killing myself after that. Oh my god. All right. Well, speaking of the girl thing, when I was in Little League, you know, and there's always like a few girls that play in Little League, or there were in mine, like, and you know, there's a bunch when you start out in T-ball, it's boys and girls, and then as it goes up, a lot of the girls stop playing, but like some are very good athletically, and they can play with the boys, like, you know, until you're done Little League when you're 12 or whatever, and they stick around. And there was one who was really, really good, like better than most of the guys. She ended up playing college basketball somewhere. She was a pretty gifted athlete, but there was one who just kind of stuck around because, like, legally she could, and she wasn't very good, but like she was cute, so like nobody really minded. And she was really nice, and the girl who was really good was not very nice, so like I wouldn't care if this happened to her, but it didn't happen to like the nice, pretty girl, and I felt terrible about it. So this was like you start out with T-ball, and then there's like the dads that throw to you, and then there's like the pitching machines, and then you get up to like, you know, when you're kids thrown against kids. And I was always a little bit like shy at the plate. Like I didn't want to get hit because I got hit once and it like fractured my knee, and after that I just had like, you know, Little League PTSD. Like I was like, there's no way I'm getting hit again. Fuck this shit. Well, we went up against this team, and it was pretty late in the game. Like the score was decided, and they let this kid who threw really slow pitch, and I was like, I got to get up to bat. Like I need to redeem myself here in my stage fright and just knock the shit out of the park. So this kid, shit, I can hear my echo in one of yours. My bad. All right, so this kid, I go up, don't remember how many pitches it was, but I connect, and I send a fucking fireball of a line drive to shortstop right at this girl's face area. But she had time, like, you know, it's a larger field, we're not little kids, so she could have just caught it, she could have ducked, she could have done anything, but she turned her glove like this, and like if she was going to get a ground ball, like instead of, like, it's coming right at her, she was like, oh. Right off her glove, rolls right down like a fucking bowling ball, and her face is the pins, like her teeth are the pins, and just hits her right in like the snout, and there's just instant like screaming, high-pitched screaming and blood, and everyone's so upset, and all the parents are there, and like that was the first time. I was probably like 11 years old, and that was the first time that like a whole group of people looked at me, and like I knew that even the parents were like, this kid is a piece of shit.
The first of many times.
Yeah, I mean, like it happened a lot in soccer after that, because like I'd always be a dick in soccer, and parents would be like, "Hey, you're a little asshole," but that was the first time.
We had an all-star.
So what's the protocol? Do they just like stop play, or like did you just keep running the bases? Like that's what I would do. I would like, I could at least get a triple out of this.
Yeah, I rounded first, and then when I was coming to second, and like there's blood all over her shirt, and like the blood's landing in the dirt, and like people are starting to kind of like put their gloves down, and like so I kind of slowed down, but I still walked to second, and I remember just kind of standing on second and being like, well, when all the dust settles here, I got a double, okay?
What if you had hit that and you just kept running? You got got it inside the park home run.
Dude, I could have just like what if I just rounded second and jumped right over her and just
like shouting sorry as you go by, just jump over like my bad, and then just keep going.
Yeah, you're using your glove wrong. I don't know. We've been doing this for 6 years.
I don't know who taught you that, but that's not it. We had an all-stars coach who none of us were afraid of the ball. Like, it wasn't a thing, but he was convinced that was the reason that we had lost our last game. He was like, you guys are just all scared of the ball. This dude had played Major League Baseball, lines us all up at shortstop, and just rips line drives at us. And we're just taking them in the chest, and he's like, see, it doesn't hurt. And we're like, A, first of all, yes, this really does hurt. And B, no, we're not scared of it. It's just like, now that you're hitting it at us, yes, I am terrified of baseballs now. I don't want to play anymore. I'd like to go home. I would like to go home. I don't want to play this sport anymore. Like, that practice was, I remember vividly, that was the last time I enjoyed playing baseball. And I played for like 2 more years, but I did not have fun a single time after that.
that one experience ruined baseball for you forever. That's
hurt.
What'd you say?
It hurt.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, I
He was a
remember one
professional baseball player.
One time we were in practice, and my dad was the coach, and my dad was pitching, taking it pretty easy, like it was just practice. And, he's pitching so everybody could get a good swing in on like a decent pitch, nothing crazy, not trying to strike people out. And he hit me. Like, it hit me. And I remember it hurt really bad, but it just hit me in the forearm. But it hurt my tiny little kid forearm really bad. And I remember being like, there's a divide between us now. Like, you didn't hit any of the other kids. Like,
Dude, he was sending you a message.
yeah, but then I couldn't really complain because like every day I was like at home like punching my sister in the head for no reason. So everything comes.
Dude, I remember when that divide happened with me and my dad. We were playing basketball at our church at our open gym night, and it came down, and it was but my dad and my uncle were the captains of the team, and there's like whatever, we had like 20 people there or something, whatever it was, and we were just dividing up into like 8 people each or whatever on each team, and then just kind of subbing it out. But it came down to being me and my cousin as the last 2 years. We were the youngest ones, and it was my dad's pick, and he picked my cousin. I will never forget that. I hold it over him every day now when I see him. He'll say something, but I'm like, hey, well, you remember that time that you fucking picked Kyle over me? Like, well, I mean, Kyle's a good rebounder, and I'm like, we had. I'm trying to think. I never had like as far as like coaches, Jacob, that were so a little too gung ho or whatever. My high school coach was pretty terrible to me until one day I told him I was going to quit my junior year before my senior year. And I was like, dude, I just don't fucking – I remember it was like after practice or something, he had just like been berating me. And I just went afterwards. I was like, yo, just so you know, I'm not going to play basketball next year. And he's like, why? I was like, because I fucking hate you. He's like, oh, sorry. I was like, oh, I thought that like I was motivating you or something. I was like, yo, like that shit might work on one of these jagoffs that like doesn't give a shit about their lives and like this is all they have is basketball and like whatever. I'm like, I love basketball, but I don't like you telling me that I suck all the time. And he was like, oh, so he completely changed his of not berating me, and then like I liked it and we did well the next year and I didn't quit. But in C team, our coach was out for like a couple weeks. He was on vacation or something, and we had like a substitute coach. We didn't even have an assistant coach then at C team when I was in 8th grade. And so one of the other guys' dads came to run to run practice. I don't even think he had qualifications as a basketball player. But he was a preacher. Okay, his son's name was Geddes, Ghettettis, and he was just a very soft-spoken black guy. But he had like a square face, like a blockhead from Gumby, and his name was Geddes. And so, like, that was my AIM screen name for a number of years. Was Geddes number 4 life, Geddes for life. And so, but his dad was a preacher, but his dad had a gigantic dick, okay? And he wore these tiny khaki shorts, and it was always just this bulge in the front of his pants, and he would wear like a t-shirt, and he would tuck it into his khakis or his basketball shorts, and then he would stand, with like akimbo, which is a great word, akimbo. So like both his arms, and he's just with his look kind of forward, and so it's just like telling us like this, and it's just like I don't know if he wanted us to look at his penis. I don't think he did, but it was hard to not look at his penis. But I just remember every day I was like, I can't keep doing this. Dude, Coach Taylor needs to come back. I can't keep looking at his bulge. And that tormented me. That was like the first old man dick imprint that I ever saw.
He knew too. He knew what he was doing.
He did. I think he did. Yeah, like if you have a gigantic, like an abnormally large penis, you have to be cognizant of that it's doing something down there that you're not going to be able to control. Like you're going to have to put a little bit more effort, like double bag the boxers or something, so the mushroom doesn't, sketch through looking like a hand shovel protruding out of a sandbox or something.
I imagine the dynamic. Like I don't have a lot of patience. Like if I go do something, if I know how to do something and I take someone else to do it for the first time, I have no patience. Like I'm a really bad teacher. Like I'll end up screaming at the person and leaving them behind. I can't do it. But I imagine the dynamic between an adult coaching kids is it's got to be weird. I don't know how I'd handle that. But Jacob, don't you coach?
Yeah. Yeah, I started coaching soccer like a year and a half ago, and the first practice I showed up and I had no idea what kind of coach I wanted to be. I had no idea how I wanted to and then I just kind of realized that I looked 14, and so you can't really be an authoritarian coach to these 16 and 17-year-old kids that already think they know everything, and then you show up looking like you're really psyched if maybe your dad misplaces his Maxim, and that's all you can think about. So after that I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna get along with you guys, and then we're just gonna kind of have fun. But these kids, I'm sorry if you were going somewhere, but I just thought of this story, and it was
No, I wanted to hear about your coaching experiences.
So I think I don't know if I can tell. Yeah, I'll tell Johnny's story, the one that you like. So we've got this kid. Really, he's just a wonderful kid. Super, super innocent though. And so whenever he's told, when kids would make fun of him not make fun of him, but just be joking with him and get mad at him and be like, lick my nuts, Johnny. That's what you say. That's the only thing that you say to each other when you're 16. That's the only phrase you know is lick my nuts.
Yeah, or some derivative of that, yeah.
So he didn't realize that was derogatory, or a punishment. He just took it as an act of aggression. And so when we were getting ready to play South, he was talking trash, I guess, the whole day to the rest of our team. He was like, yeah, man, tonight against South, I'm going to lick their nuts and score a goal. And he just had this, because the whole team was in his physics class, and everyone heard him and just turned around and was like, Johnny, what did you just say? And then they spent the rest of physics class explaining to him exactly what it meant. So that's what they learned that day.
Yeah, Johnny, it means to literally put your mouth on their genitals. It's not a mean thing to do. It's actually means you're their sexual partner, Johnny, which is fine. You can do that.
But he was just running his mouth. He was like, I'm gonna lick their nuts and score a goal.
God bless him.
He scores a goal and he's running backwards. Yeah, baby, your nuts, my mouth. What do you know about it?
That needs to be a button on FIFA when you score a goal.
How does it feel to have your nuts licked by Johnny? They should never have corrected that, because that would have been phenomenal. I like that too. Like, I'm gonna lick their nuts.
Like, no one ever tells him, and like he gets through, and it becomes like a thing. Like, never tell Johnny what that really means, and like he's like with his boss, and they're about to like make a sales pitch, and he's like, "Look, if things start to go bad, turn it over to me. I will lick the shit out of these guys' nuts. We'll make this sale." He's like,
oh my god, dude! I coached. So I used to run and help out with I don't know if you guys have them up north and out in the Midwest, but like these like D1 athletic, basically like sports academies or whatever the case is. Like you can go and like kids train there. They have whatever they do weight training there, and then they do whatever else, skills and all sorts of stuff. And so I would help out with this one place in Greenville, South Carolina, where I'm from, and with the summer camps or whatever. And the guy who owns it, he used to play in the NBA. For the Phoenix Suns, and he played at, where did he play? Loyola Marymount or something like that. Mark Morrison, he played in the NBA for a couple years, and so he got a job as the head coach at a private Christian school here in town, and so he asked me if I wanted to coach the middle school kids, and I was like, holy shit! And I was like 20, I was just out of college. I'd been like 22 at the time, and I was like, yeah, dude, I have no fucking idea how to be other than like I've helped out like in summer camps and stuff, but I was like, yeah, sure. So I go, and I ended up not taking the job because I fucking hate private school kids.
oh yeah.
So like for me, so this is my journey through high school, like through high school athletics, right? So 7th grade I was on C team, 8th grade I was on C team, 9th grade I didn't make junior varsity. They ended up having like a freshman team or whatever, like a 9th grade team. Then they broke out middle school. So then I was on like the 9th grade team. 10th grade I was on junior varsity. 11th grade I sat the bench. I remember at one point my coach put me in for the last 1.4 seconds of a basketball game my junior year on varsity. And I was like, you don't have to do this. It's like, come on, man. Like, just let me keep my fucking warm up on. Like, you don't have to put me in for 1.4 seconds. Like, it wasn't like a, hey, we need you to go in and like foul this kid because our point guard has 5 fouls or 4 fouls on him or whatever, and he can't get one more or something. And no, it's just hey, we're up 12 points, go in. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do in 1.4 seconds? Like, so anyway, so I played like very nominal my junior year, and then senior year I started, and we went to state and we lost at state, and so like, but I mean, all of that, like playing and having to sit the bench and then not making junior varsity and this and that, and like that was part of the process, and like I learned all of our sets and our plays and how to play with the other kids, like my teammates, throughout all that. And so, like, I think that was beneficial for me. What is beneficial to private school kids, because their parents are paying for their child to go to the school, is they want their fucking kid to play. So I was I had the middle school team, and I was helping out like one of the first weeks when they were doing the stuff, and these kids were god awful. There was like one kid that was pretty good, and he was really good in that setting. He would have been like average. He would have come off the bench in like a public school, and so, but he was just really good. And so I remember I was like, one of the parents came up to talk to me, and he's like, so how are you gonna, what do you have, what's your philosophy? I was like, what the fuck? Like, get out of my fucking face. Philosophy for a middle school basketball team. And so he's like, what's your philosophy like, with playing time? I was like, well, I mean, I'll try to get everybody some playing time depending on the situation or whatever, but, the kids that are clearly more talented and serve a better purpose at a position or in a a certain scenario, like I'm gonna go with them. And he's like, I don't really know if I agree with that. Oh really? What's your philosophy? He's like, sitting on the bench, like, I mean, every kid should get time there. I mean, like, he could go and play church ball and get playing time and minutes there instead of sitting the bench here. I'm like, I mean, yeah, sure, he could do that. He could also just play fucking basketball by himself in his backyard. Like, but this is like for a school. I was like, he's gonna learn like what eventually, if he's gonna play varsity, he's gonna learn all these plays and how to play with his teammates and like get better as a cohesive unit as they move up, and like that's gonna be more beneficial in the long run. And he's like, yeah, I don't really think that's that's how it should be. I think all the kids should have every kid should get playing time. There's something I was like, all right, cool, man. I was like, I appreciate it. He's like, okay, good talk. Hope to see you around. I was like, yeah. I finished out the week after, and then having like 2 more of those kind of conversations. And I just told the dude, I was like, yo, I really appreciate what you're doing, but like for me as a 22-year-old who can't grow facial hair and looks like a 14-year-old, like I can't be here like coaching these kids with parents who make hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to force their will on me. I was like, if I was older, this would work, but like they are not going to respect me, and I can't do this. And he was like, well, I can understand that, but I was like, oh my god, like that's all they fucking care about is that their kid gets playing time versus like, yo, your kid fucking sucks. Like I don't care that you graded your backyard and put down like the nicest percent asphalt and copied the really nice Gorilla, hand crankable, adjustable basketball goal and got the shit like officially spray painted. I don't give a shit. Your kid sucks. And maybe you should help him get better so that he gets more playing time. But yeah, I couldn't do it. So
I had this parent, and it was the first team I'd ever coached. And before the season even started, he wasn't supposed to be on the team, but he got himself added on. And I get an email from the dad, and he's like, I just figured you'd want to know a little bit about my son and like what his strengths are. And he's just describing this amazing like Division I midfielder, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're lying, but maybe it's somewhere in between what I'm guessing and what you're saying. What it was this homeschool kid that showed up in rec specs as a 15-year-old with a dirt stash, and like as soon as I saw him, I was just like, no, please don't do this to me. He ended up like he saw the game really well. He just had no athletic ability.
Not without those rec specs, he didn't see the game very well.
Dude, I got into refereeing in high school as like extra pocket change money, and so when you first start off, like you get like the midgets, which is like on the 8-foot goal, and they're I guess like under 10 or something, like 8 years old or whatever they are, and you would go out there. The first game would be at 8, and you would have like 4 or 5 in a row, and then you get done at like 3 p.m. and you made like it's like $12 a game or something like that. So like in high school, like that was like great, like pocket change money. And plus I was learning refereeing and whatnot, and that helped me with basketball. And so I eventually graduated, and I started doing middle school and C-team games and in men's churches stuff, and I did a couple of varsity games in like a private Christian league or whatever. But my philosophy was always like whatever kid is wearing the most accessories, accoutrements, that was the kid I was going to foul the fuck out. It was like a Greek Orthodox church, and this kid came through. He had the high socks, then he had knee pads, okay? Then he had wrist sweatbands, then he had elbow pads, then he had then he had a headband, and then he had the weird like curly, like he had like spiked his hair up or whatever, like hair gel. I'm like,
oh my god, this kid sounds like such a piece of shit.
So, and I was like, this kid is not. I got him fouled out by the first half.
Fuck yeah.
He was getting just smacked when he would try to put a shot back up or whatever. I was like, I'm not calling it. I don't give a shit. I would call him like over the back and like just real ticky tacky made up shit. But I was like, this kid is not making it past the first half.
When you were describing the ages, like, young kids and the different leagues you go up through and like the different age groups, like, I was picturing when you said like it's like an 8-foot net and like 8-year-old kids, I was like, what if every time you turned a year older, the net went a foot higher? I've just been thinking about like, all right, so like when you're 10, you're playing on like a regulation, what we think as regulation size. But like by the time you're 18, you gotta like dribble and just like fucking hurl the shit out of the ball like way up in the air and hope it gets in there. And like the scores are really low. This is like the whole fucking thought that I just had.
Dude, yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, it's. I'm thinking about writing a letter to whoever the NBA commissioner is. Just say, maybe change the rules up a little bit. Scores a little high.
I will take this podcast to formally announce that me, Twitter user Boss Sauce, I invented slam ball. Okay. Slam ball, for those not initiated, it was on. I think it might still be around in some gyms or some areas or whatever, but it definitely was on like Spike TV. It ran for like 2 or 3 seasons or something. But the concept is that basically from the free throw line down, I think like there's these trampolines. Okay, on both sides.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that shit.
And the rim is like soft or like whatever, and so like the whole idea is that like you can. I don't think you had to fucking dribble between like you got outside of the trampolines. You could just run with it. And so, but the idea was that you come in, you do off the trampoline, and you would just try to dunk on people or like throw alley oops or like do crazy shit. And so, but that was like in 2002. In the year 2000,
Conan.
Old Conan O'Brien.
Oh yeah, I love that.
So, what my friend had a backyard that was like he had a nice gorilla goal and like it was like a nice like half court size paved area, and so his family was gone from the beach for like a week. And I remember they were always like, yeah, you just come over and play, and like it was the best place for me to go because it's like it was a 2-minute walk, and I could turn the lights on back there, and I could just play at night. And they had a trampoline, and when I was like, what if I brought this trampoline underneath this basketball goal? And then I did, and then that changed everything. So then it went from just me doing it, and then I got one of my other friends to come up, and like we would play one-on-one versus each other. Well, then it morphed into they came back and from vacation. I put the trampoline back, and then I told them about it like a couple months later. I was like, hey, like when you were gone, I put the trampoline in there. Like we should do that again. Like okay, so we got a second trampoline, and so we started playing like 21, like 3 people on 2 trampolines. Now underneath us is nothing but concrete. Okay, so this is a terrible idea. And one time my buddy did get double bounced off of the trampoline to straight down onto his knee. I thought that his kneecap was gonna bust open and like jelly was gonna pop out because I don't know what's underneath the kneecap. Definitely did it in like
jelly. It could be.
And so, but yeah, we would play, and so we had these weird rules. We had like a hustle rule. So like if the ball was loose and you like were the one to dive for the ball, and you accidentally were the one that like hit it out off the trampoline or something, but because you hustled, you got the ball.
That's the whitest rule of all time.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. And so the other thing was that if like you embarrassed somebody, you would get the ball back. So like if you shot it or something, I just blocked the shit out of your ball, and it went off the trampoline. Like I got the ball because
these rules seem really loose. Like these rules are all based on the opinions of the other people playing.
Exactly. And so, but also too, if you embarrass somebody, like it wouldn't be make it take it unless you embarrass somebody. So if you dunked on somebody really bad, you would get the ball back. And I remember it was the first ever like highlight of backyard slam ball. I was playing this guy who was like kind of an idiot, and we had because we would always have like people in the neighborhood. We'd have like 5-7 kids like sitting around ready to like just to play, and this one kid or something, and I did this thing. I like tossed it up off the backboard or whatever, but he turned around thinking that like I had shot it, and then it came up and I caught it and I dunked and like my nuts were on his neck, and then like I was just hanging from the thing, and then like I was like I should have like let go or something, but I just like latched onto him and like held him in and then just started like whatever. And then we fell down, and then I got the ball back, but it was the most embarrassing thing ever. We actually just called the game after that. It was like, yo, you just got embarrassed. The score is the score is 3-1, but like the game's over. You're not recovering from that. But yeah, a Twitter user Boss also did a slam ball because then I'm sure a lot of kids have jumped off trampolines to do it, but we had 2 trampolines like with some rules and all that.
And you guys probably called it slam ball. I mean, someone at some point probably said, this is slam ball.
Yeah, this is a slamming time that I'm having putting the ball here, and we're like, yeah, it's slam ball.
Yeah, last time I jumped on a trampoline was in 7th grade, and I remember because I'm just fuck trampolines now. I'm not going to get near one. We pulled one of the like huge, like the large elevated trampolines up near. My buddy had one, and we were like, Chris, we're going to your house after school, and we're going to jump off your roof onto the trampoline. Like, I hope you're ready for this. Not at the time, being in middle school, so we're like, we don't think of it as his parents' house. We're like, we're gonna do what we want at your house, dude. And this kid was the pushover. This kid was the weak kid in our group, and there was another weak kid in our group friends, and we would make them fight for fun. Like when we would all get bored, we would just be like, Justin, Chris, you guys have to fight each other, and like they'd fight, and like they liked each other, like we were all friends, but we made them hate each other, and we'd make them fight like. We wouldn't let them stop. Like they'd both be tired, and one would be crying, and like they'd be like, "I don't want to do this. Like this is my friend. I don't want to fight him anymore." We'd be like, "No, dude. There's nothing else to do. Like it's a July afternoon, and like somebody's got to bleed before this is done." So that's this kid's personality. He's a pushover. So we get over there, and his parents are like, they hear us talking. They're like, you guys are not jumping off of our roof onto the trampoline. That's a terrible idea. And we're not going to be responsible for that. We're not going to be liable. And we're all like, well, Chris, like, you're a bitch, and, like, so's your dad for saying that. So we're going to pull the trampoline over, and we're going to put it next to your house. So we go outside. The dad's, like, kind of looking out the window every now and then to, like, make sure we're not doing it. Because he knows his son's a bitch, and he knows that we're going to do it. So we pull the trampoline over, but then we go inside. And like we pretend like we're just up in Chris's room, but instead we sneak out onto the roof, and and the dad probably realized it at this point. But anyway, so we're jumping off, and my buddy lands on it. He's down there, and he doesn't get off the trampoline. He just kind of keeps jumping on it. Then I jump off the roof, land on the trampoline. He double bounces me like almost like into the stratosphere, and I didn't go straight up. Obviously, like I kind of came down and then went. My momentum kept pulling me forward. And I came down on the edge of the trampoline with one leg still on, and then I remember one leg, and I wasn't that big, like I was pretty young, but I hit my nuts so hard on the edge of the trampoline that my other leg reached down and touched the ground. Like it just tore me in half. And then the dad must have been watching at this point because he comes running out the back door, like hollering and screaming, like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and I'm super embarrassed, and that was the last time I went on a trampoline.
What is it about, like, humans aged 13 to 18 that just want to jump off of things? Because I remember one of my friends had a house that was right next to their pool, and it was an in-ground pool, but it was the dumbest in-ground pool ever because it was only like 4 feet deep. I don't know why you would even put in a pool if it's going to be an in-ground pool that's 4 feet deep. But,
sounds dangerous.
Oh, we made it dangerous. It was a 3-story house, and so we started with the first story. Yeah, each story had like a ledge that was, I think, put in for people to be able to jump into a pool should one be put in later. So we're jumping off the first story, and we're like, yeah, this is kind of fun. Let's go higher. And every time and we wouldn't dry off or anything. We're just walking through their house soaking wet while they're sitting in the living room watching TV. And they're like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, nothing. Are you guys jumping off the roof?" "No, absolutely not." And they could just you could hear people on the roof like just dicking around. I don't know how no one got hurt, but we did. We spent probably 3 hours just jumping as high as we could, and I don't understand that desire. Like, looking back now, I'm like, that was stupid. We just really needed to be in the water. We gained nothing from the extra, like, 30 feet of hang time out there.
Yeah, it's the rush you get when you're in the air, and then, like, the feeling that, like, I could die young, like, it's like, just risking your life is, like, a real rush. Like, speaking of jumping off things, One time we were in this girl's house, also in middle school. This was probably 7th or 8th grade. We're at this girl's house. Me and my buddy were like up in a room, and we're not supposed to be there. We had snuck in, like we climbed the gutter up into the roof. We're like hanging out. It's the summer, but her dad was really crazy, and because she was really bad, like she was always sneaking out. So we're up in a room, and we hear her dad coming up the steps. And this girl was so bad that her parents had taken her door off the hinges. There was no door to her bedroom because she would just like lock herself in there and then like get the fuck out the window and sneak out. She was terrible. But so we hear the dad coming, and we know there's no time to hide. There's nothing to do. So we jump out. We would have just lowered ourselves down. My buddy lowers. He's hanging on the gutter. He's hanging on the gutter. The gutter just snaps off the edge. He falls down. He hits the ground and like lands on his butt and kind of rolls backwards, and he's okay. And I'm stuck up there, and I can hear the dad in the room, and he's asking her if she's there, and I'm up against the wall, like outside her room on the roof. My buddy's begging me to jump, but the only place that I could jump down to that had grass was like there were a lot of branches on the way down, and I didn't want to risk it. So I decided that the other side of the roof was a clear path, but it was bricks on the bottom. It was their like brick patio. So my buddy's coaxing me. I'm super nervous, and I was like, you know what? Like, this is either this will be good or it'll be bad. Like, I'm young. I don't really care. I just jump. I land, and like it was like a perfect landing. It felt really good. I'm really psyched up. I stand up, and my buddy grabs me by the shoulders and kisses me on the lips. Like, he was so relieved that it happened. It was so relieved that it happened. He kisses me, and I was like, oh, okay, oh, all right, okay. So we climb a fence, and we're running back home. Like, we're just running through the suburban.
God damn, Tom, you stuck that landing.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were best friends, so, like, we were really tight, and he was really psyched. I guess, like, in our little kid heads, like, he thought that I could have really died jumping off, like, a one-story roof. So we're running back, and we're like talking. We're like, "Oh my God, that was so scary." This is like mid-run, so we're kind of talking between breaths, and we're not looking face to face, and we're just running back to his house. And he's like, "Dude, I can't believe you did that." I was like, "Yeah, man. Like, I can't believe you kissed me. You got really." And he was like, "Yeah. I don't know. I was like really scared for you, and I was really relieved." And I was like, "Okay, well, let's just keep running and not looking each other in the eyes, and maybe not hang out for a week or two."
Dude, I jumped off a lot. Yeah, no, like that. I'm now that you said that, I'm thinking back to all the times I jumped off high places that I didn't need to. So I used to backyard wrestle in high school.
Jesus Christ.
Middle school, like middle school, early high school, and it was me and my buddy, and so he lived. Like, his house was in my neighborhood, and then he lived behind my house. And that house was like the farmhouse that had owned all of the land, who had sold it for the neighborhood to be developed. So they had like 3 barns on his property. He had this like 9-acre field, like all sorts of stuff. So like his was just like the neighborhood kids. We would go over there because we could like run around in trees and grass and woods and barns and stuff. And so we were playing Manhunt one night, and so to anyone who doesn't know what Manhunt is the way like adolescent teen boys play hide and seek, to make it sound like it's murderous, and it's not. It's just hide and seek with teams. So you have 2 teams, and you have a base where you're safe. But yeah, so like you'd be like 4-on-4, 5-on-5, whatever, and so you hide and they hide, and then the object is that if you have like an even, like you usually have an even number or an odd number team, so you have to get like 3 people back to base, and your team wins that round or whatever the case is. So we had this beautiful strategy where we would go into the barn, and we would go up to the 2nd floor of the barn, and the only way you could get up was through a vertical ladder. So you had to go in, and then you had to like climb up this ladder, and then we're up there. So the upstairs barn had windows or wherever you could open doors. And so what we would do is when somebody comes in, then we would just go, yeah, and then we would drop out of the, like what Tom was saying with his buddy did, is that, you get down, then you just drop down from the top of the barn, and then it's only like, 5-6 feet by the time you're down if you go on the front. Well, on the back side of this barn is on a slope, and so on the back side, it was about a 15-foot drop. So one time we were up there, and somebody comes in to go, "Hey guys, the round's over. We got like the other 3 people," and it was me and my buddy were up there, and then instead of just listening, going, "Oh, this is great. How about we just walk, go down the stairs and we'll start the next round?" I just go, "You'll never catch me!" And then I just run and jump out of the back of this barn. And when I land, I crush my chin onto my knee. When I land, I can't even physically do it now. But I crushed it, and I can't. Let's see if I can't grow any facial hair here. There's like a patch, and a scar because it literally ripped my skin off. I have like a bald spot underneath my chin because it ripped my skin off, and I can't grow hair there anymore. But it was like if I had just like dropped myself down, I'd have been fine. And if I had just like not been an idiot kid jumping out the back of a barn, I would be okay too. But it was so idiotic. It was the dumbest thing ever.
Kids love jumping off shit, dude. I want to jump off shit right now. I'm on the 3rd floor of my house, and I'm fixing to jump down to the fucking backyard.
There was like a music venue here in town. It was super shady. It's like a Dollar General or something now, but not even like a Dollar General. It's like a dollar something. It's some family-owned thing where they just like sell crafts. But on like Thursday nights, I don't remember what night it was, but they had a wrestling like tournament. But it was just like the dude that owned it and anybody that wanted to wrestle him. Weird power trip that he was on. But they had a full ring set up, and it was always there. Like even when bands were playing and stuff, the ring was in there. And I went in there one time, and I'm just looking at it, and he's like, "You want to jump off the top rope?" And there was no doubt in my mind. And I don't know why I wanted to do it. I was just like this 15-year-old kid. I was like, yes, I absolutely want to do that. And so the first time I go up there, I just kind of jumped off and landed on my feet. And I was just this dissatisfying feeling. And he looked at me, and he was like, "Yeah, you got to do the belly flop." And I was like, "Yes, I do." And so I went back up. And it hurt a little bit. It wasn't super painful. Like I can't pretend I got super hurt or anything, but it was just one of those things where I don't know why my brain kept telling me like, "No, you do need to try that though, because you have to know like what this feels like." I was convinced in my head that I had to do this. It was something that I needed to do to become like I needed to reach the next chapter of my life. And to close the last chapter, I had to do a belly flop off of like the top ring of a boxing ring.
To open the new chapter. This guy just gets off on having young kids come into his store and hurt themselves in a wrestling ring.
Nah, man, you need to do a belly flip. Nah, you gotta do a flip. Nah, man, you gotta land on your neck.
He's just waiting for me to die.
Yeah, just trying to make you do more and more ridiculous stuff. I remember it's like around middle school, and my parents had a lake house, and we would go down there, and it was a great it'd be like I remember it was like two of my other friends, and we would go around. You could swim over there, and it's like a rope swing, just like very rickety rope swing, whatever. And so we were doing this thing where like we would swing off the rope, and we would jump, and then we would like try to do like a backflip or like twists or what. Like we were like basically doing like a contest or whatever. Like and the other two would like give them a score. So my one buddy. So the tree is at like a 45-degree incline from the bank, and it's hanging over the water, and then there's pieces of wood that have been nailed up it so you can climb. So my buddy threw the rope up or whatever, then he's getting up there to get it, and he pulls his pants down, the back of his pants, and like we don't know, he's just like very slyly does it, and he's like, and then he jumps off and he tries to moon us or whatever, like with his ass out. Well, what he did not do is when he threw the rope up, he didn't get it free. It had gotten wrapped around one of the steps way up higher. So then, and there is a large condominium complex right probably is about 60 feet away of water, and that's where all their back porches are. And so this guy swings off, and he's like, ha! He's like, ha! Fuck you! With his ass out like this, and then he doesn't go anywhere, and then he swings back, and then he gets stuck with his ass pointing to all these old people out on their balconies. Like you, Tom, where he was, there's no water there. It was nothing but rocks and sticks. So he was standing there and he's like, "Fucking help me," or something. I'm like, "Yo, you just gotta drop." He's like, "There's just rocks down there." I had to go up and I had to like give him a little push on his shin to like give him some momentum, and he fell down and he scratched his ass. Oh, it's rocks. Oh god, he deserved it. Remember, he fell down and he because he couldn't really control himself or whatever, and he like let go, but he like came down and just like landed ass first on these rocks and just scratched it all up.
Jesus.
I did so speaking like with the wrestling and jumping off or whatever, maybe this is a good thing to close this on, but so I used to do pro wrestling. And not so much pro wrestling. I mean, not like Greco-Roman high school Olympic wrestling, like professional WWE, independent, amateur, that kind of wrestling. And so I did it for about 8 months. And my name was Pretty Boy Rob, PBR, and I had somebody.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Have you guys seen the? If you haven't seen the video, I'll send the video. Maybe you could like just embed it in the post or whatever. I'll send you guys the video so you can watch it. So I had somebody like manipulate the Pabst Blue Ribbon logo to make it Pretty Boy Rob with like a aviator logo, and my tights were orange and teal. And I wore a bow tie, and this was up in Spartanburg, South Carolina, in this place that used to be a church across from a Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Is there anything down there that was not or is not currently a church?
No, everything is a church. There's churches that used to be in movie theaters. You can actually, in some movie theaters, they actually do church, like they broadcast it in there. Everything is a church. And so there's like, I know there's one that used to be like an automotive detailing place or whatever that's now a church. And so I started wrestling, and my character, like I found myself, they wanted me to be a good, like a face, a good guy, and then I ended up being a much better bad guy. So I came out this one time, and I brought out a sign that said, "I have the prettiest mustache in the world," and on the backside of it, it said, "I'm also fully aware none of you can read." So a lot of the people, the other wrestlers, like it's just really inbred people up there, and that like still really believe that wrestling is real, and like the other heel wrestlers, when they yell at the crowd, they'll just like "shut up" or whatever, "shut up, you're ugly." And so what I would do is I would say things about them that they couldn't really like reply back to. So this one like kid, he was like probably high school age or something. He was yelling at me or whatever, and I was like, "Let me tell you something about you, buddy. Number one, you probably don't own a toothbrush. Number two, you have no home training. Number three, those glasses look fucking stupid on your face because the lens shape doesn't match your face shape." He like did. Shut up! I'm like, whatever. So I come out and I do this. So this was early on, and I always was like, okay, somebody like hits you or whatever, like you take it a couple times before you fall down or whatever. And I got out there and I got my first ever match. I got put in the main event because this guy's tag partner didn't show up. I was only there to like be in the back and like see how everything went because I just finished my training, and then they were like, "Hey, do you have your gear?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Go get it." So they give me this BDSM zipper face mask, like, so I'm wearing that, and so because they're like, "Hey, before you make your debut." Yes. Yeah, 1 second. And so they've got me wearing this mask because they don't want me to like make my debut as this person because I haven't made it yet or whatever. So I have to go out and wear this zipper mask, and so this thing smells horrible. I ended up getting a rash on my face from it because it had just been in a filing cabinet desk for years, and other people had worn it and never been washed. But I actually like got like a rash on my face, and so I go out there, and no one told me whatever. So like this guy, I'm wrestling against the tag team champions. So this guy chops me in the chest, right? And I was like, okay, like, all right, yeah, I take this or something. And then he chops me again, and then he chops me again. And he fucking, like, he under his breath he goes, fucking fall down, and then he chops me again because I was like, I thought that, like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I gotta take this guy's chops, and so, like, my chest started bleeding because, like, his handprint was there and it was, like, bubbling out from underneath the skin, and then I got chopped like 5 more times during that match because I didn't know what I was doing, and it was awful. But yeah, that's my story with wrestling. I'll send you guys the links or whatever. I did it for like 8 months and it was really fun.
I can't believe that story is real, dude. You have a very interesting life.
Yeah, I had a buddy that went and did it, and then I went and saw him one time, and then I was like, I have to do this, and then got to do it, so it was fun.
Shit, man.
I did have, and I completely forgot about it. I'm not even going to pretend to segue. Maybe I'll edit it back in later. I did have one more story about coaching when I realized that I wasn't mature enough to be a coach yet. Was at the awards banquet. We've got twin brothers, and one of them was being awarded all conference. And I'm sitting like by both of them, and the head coach is on stage. He's like introducing all this kid's accolades, like saying everything he did this year, and then he goes, "This year's all-conference winner," and then says the kid's name, and his brother just leans back to me and just goes, "All-conference, it's sucking dick," and like I just like snorted the loudest snort I'd ever snorted in my life, and I'm just sitting there with my head in my hands, just crying, trying to pretend that nothing's happening. Because, like, you can't just explain to everyone around you, like parents and stuff, like, no, he said all conference is sucking dick. It was awesome. It was so funny. You guys missed it. So I'm just like,
it's
I'm
cool.
sorry.
We're just joking about an underage kid's dick. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, at the end of my senior season, I think I said this on Twitter before, my coach, we didn't really get along after he kicked me off the team one year, and, like, he came back and, you know, he was like, okay, like, I know you don't like me. I know we're mad at each other. I don't know. It was always weird between us. But anyway, at the end of the senior season, we had the awards banquet and everything. We're going around signing posters. He's, like, signing mine, and he writes on everybody else's, like, a really nice message. And on mine, he just wrote, like, something really simple and kind of heartless. And I was like, not heartless, rude, just like there was no feeling in it. I was like, oh, that's weird. We go to talk, and he just starts telling me to my face, like, aside, like, all the families are there, and he's, like, telling me all the things that he thinks that are wrong with me, like my character flaws, like, personally, like, not having to do with soccer, like, just the things that he thinks make me bad. And then the last thing he says is, and maybe don't talk about your dick so much. And I was like, whoa, like, I'm just joking around. He's like, every time I turn around, you're talking about your dick. I was like, well, we all joke around. Like, we're high school kids. All we do is joke about our dick and balls. And he's like, no, but you do it, like, to a different level and, like, in a different way, and you need to just lessen your dick talk. I was like, oh, fine, dude. I don't know. You can suck my dick for all I care.
Why would... What an asshole.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I don't know. He's still doing the same thing, and I'm still doing the same thing. So
still talking about my dick.
Yeah, guess what, pal? There's like a few hundred people that like to hear me talk about my dick on the internet now, so...
Who's the loser now?
Yeah, who's the loser now, dipshit?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty solid spot to end.
All right. All right, so we'll cut this baby down, get it on the web, and I'll see you boys on the Twitter.
Sounds good. Do you want me to try and wait for Monday, Justin? Do you think you'll be able to get that video? Because I can wait.
I'd be able to get it. My mom would be able to find it, but then it's probably on like an old, like whatever, like high 8 or like video cassette or whatever.
Okay.
So I probably wouldn't be able to snag it, but I will ask her. I'll call her tomorrow and be like, hey, do you know where those tapes are? And then and I can probably try to figure it out from there.
All right, cool.
All right. Good stuff, guys. I had a good time.
Hey, Tom, maybe don't talk about your dick so much.
Hey, Jacob, shut the fuck up.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.